Hi everyone! Did you know that there is an achievement in Diablo 4 that requires you to defeat 6,666,666 treasure goblins, and you even get a pretty rad title reward for it? Now this might seem like a pretty high number to some, I'm not sure about that, but personally I've been blasting non-stop 3 weeks since the expansion launch and I'm sitting at the solid 142 goblins defeated so far. So I figured, why don't we go for it? So I want to show you the strategy that I have devised and do a little bit of math and numbers on how long will this actually take. So buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride with what I'm about to show you. Before we continue with the video, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, boot.dev. They've created a platform that makes it easier than ever to get into programming and polish your skills. They believe that the easiest way to learn code is to make sure that you're never bored, and this is why they have designed their courses to feel more like a game and less like a chore. The only way to really get into programming is to get your hands busy and write a ton of code, and this is exactly what the tasks allow you to do without ever feeling like you're getting stuck, because they have tons of tools to help you out. In these courses, you're going to learn backend programming from start to finish in the Python and Go languages. As you may know, programmers have huge earning potential. In the US, the median is upwards of 100K per year. And additionally, they can very often work from home, which is very convenient. And what I find really admirable about boot.dev is that they really follow their mission. Even for people that don't have the means to pay for a membership, they offer all of their content for free to read and watch. The paid membership only unlocks the interactivity and the game that goes with the programs. Compared to attending a university course, boot.dev is a way cheaper solution and allows you the flexibility of doing it all at your own pace and from home. They offer both a monthly and annual subscription, and you can cancel in the first 30 days, no questions asked. So if you really want to learn coding and that convinces you, then go check out boot.dev with the link in the description or the pinned comment below, and you get 25% off your first payment to boot.dev by clicking that link or using my code. And now, let's go back to the video. So, together with my stream chat, I was thinking about the best possible ways to farm treasure goblins. How do you even get treasure goblins? How do you ever even think about getting to 6 million treasure goblins killed? And it seems like by far the most optimal way in order to farm a lot of treasure goblins is to use the Scroll of Contained Goblins. Some people may not even know this exists. This is from the Dark Citadel. This is farmable in the Citadel. And I think it is only a drop, so it can only be found in the dungeon from the chest and from the bosses, and not bought from the Citadel coins. And it is a really rare drop. So far I've gotten 2 of them this season or so with, I don't know, 4 Citadel clears, and I hear pretty similar things from other people. But this seems to be the best way in order to get those goblins. Now, occasionally we also get something like a March of the Goblin event that Blizzard had launched in previous seasons, where we, for example, had greed shrines that spawn a lot of treasure goblins, and you can actually get a bunch there. But realistically, I don't even expect this to be a much faster way of getting those goblins, and we also don't know if they're coming back at some point in the future. So for now, I will do all of this calculation that I'm about to do without the, special events or like, somehow thousands of goblins that you could, amass in a single dungeon or something like that. Mostly based around this Scroll of Contained Goblins strategy. So I have set up this Excel sheet here, the strat TM with the achievement and the scroll here, and let's think about, okay, how fast can we actually do those goblins? Now you see here on the tooltip we have a 30-second cooldown, which is a very long cooldown. So if you have, for example, one leecher who is supposed to get the achievement, and then you have people trying to feed that person with goblins, then there would be 3 people summoning a goblin every 30 seconds, or roughly 1 goblin every 10 seconds. So this means that per minute we can get 6 goblins, per hour we can get 360 goblins with such a strategy. Now the thing is that you don't actually have to wait the entire cooldown every single time. You could actually cycle people into a dungeon. So for example, we have the one leecher standing inside of a dungeon, and you have 3 people rotating in every around 10 seconds, summoning a goblin and then getting kicked from the party, and another person gets invited, joins the dungeon and does the same. So if you have, for example, 9 people constantly rotating on a 10-second cycle, then you could actually spawn triple the amount of goblins. And 10 seconds is a relatively realistic time frame in order to get invited to a party, join a dungeon, click the scroll, and then get instantly kicked from the party. So roughly 10 seconds should be fine for the loading screen. So I think we can actually up our number here to roughly 3 goblins every 10 seconds, leaving us with 18 goblins per minute. Or if you look at the per hour value, we have 18 times 60, roughly 1080 goblins. Now there might be a bit of friction and inefficiency here, so I think that we can say this is going to be a roughly solid 1000 goblins per hour or so for one person leeching from 9 people constantly, inviting them and kicking them from the party inside the dungeon. So let's write these things down. We have 1 leecher going for the achievement, then we have 9 people rotating on a 10-sec cycle, 3 at a time, 1000 goblins per hour. So this is our first step here. And this means that if you divide 6,666,666 goblins by 1000, well, we need roughly 6,666 hours in order to accomplish this goal. Just standing in a dungeon and leeching non-stop from people that have pre-farmed those scrolls. So this is our expected time frame. Now, how many days or weeks is that actually? Let's say we go with a chill 10 hours per day goblin leeching strategy. This means we need 666 days of 10 hours per day to do this. And 666 days is roughly 2 years of leeching goblins non-stop every day, 10 hours a day. So for example, when we start now at the end of 2024, we could probably be done sometime in like fall 2026 or so. But there is another problem, which is we actually have to farm those scrolls. And that means we probably have to delay the start of this whole leeching strategy by quite a bit in order for people to actually get those scrolls. But I will show you how that works. Now the thing about this scroll of contained goblins is that they can only be found, they cannot actually be bought for the coins, as I mentioned at the start. So if you go to the vendor here, there is no scroll of contained goblins that you can buy. And judging from experience and from what I've heard from other people, you get roughly 1 scroll every 2 full citadel clears or something like that. So let's do the scroll calculation here. So scroll means 2 citadel runs equals 1 scroll. 1 citadel full clear, if you're relatively fast, can be done in a little bit less than half an hour. So let's say we're looking at roughly 1 scroll per hour that you can farm for 4 people going together. But basically per person farming scrolls, trying to feed the leecher, you get roughly 1 scroll per hour. Now the question is, how many people do we actually want to recruit for this whole thing in order to achieve our goal of having 9 people rotating non-stop every 10 seconds to then leech 10 hours a day from those people? Well, we probably need quite a lot. We need like an entire army of basically no-lifers farming the citadel non-stop in order to get those scrolls to then feed it to our leecher. For example, a single person just chain summoning goblins for 1 hour only in this whole rotation will need 120 scrolls in order to do this for just 1 hour. And we need 6,666 hours and 3 people at a time. So we need quite a lot of people basically. Or in other words, we need exactly 6,666,666 scrolls, which each take 1 hour to farm from one person. So we need a total combined community effort of 6 million hours basically. So the main question is, how many hours do you want to spend per person trying to support our leecher in this calculation? And I would say we could go with something like, let's say 3,000 people that we can recruit for this event. So how many hours of scroll farming would this mean for our 3,000 people trying to help? Well, we have 6,666,666 divided by 3,000. This means we need around 2,222 hours per person supporting our leecher here, farming the citadel, and we're not actually counting the hours that you spend summoning those goblins, but those will actually go by relatively fast in comparison. So if we say that we need roughly 2 years for actually leeching all those scrolls from people and 2,000 something hours in order to farm those, we can say, okay, it's roughly a commitment of 1,000 hours or so, a little bit more per year, plus a little bit of like, breaks and maybe some inefficiencies, and also this time spent in the summoning rotation. We can say, okay, it's roughly 2.4 thousand hours rounded up. And in that case, it would be roughly 100 hours per month per person for 2 years. Or in other words, we're talking about roughly like 3 to 4 hours per day for 3,000 people at a time, non-stop farming the citadel, getting those scrolls. Now, I think it might be slightly difficult to motivate 3,000 people to stay committed to this whole event and farming the Citadel for 2,000 hours and then coming to open the Goblins and then let someone leech, but I guess we can try. And that's also pretty much the entire calculation that we have to do. So the fastest you can do this achievement, the way that I found at least, is having one person leeching, standing inside a dungeon, mostly just kind of like managing and, you know, inviting people and leaving, kicking people from the party and so on. You basically want to do some normal difficulty with a minion necro, so you don't actually have to worry about killing those goblins, I guess. You just let them like get one shot from your skeletal mages or something. So you don't have to worry about anything. You just kind of like non-stop chain invite people. There's some other little problems involved with this whole system here that, for example, we can't have that many people on our friend list on Battle.net, so we'd have to constantly, you know, invite people to your friend list, kick them from your friend list and so on, because that's kind of like, you know, you can't have 3,000 people. So there's some small stuff like that. In the overall picture, probably just a nuisance. What we really need are blasters, people that just know live Diablo 4, farm the Citadel for us, and can get those scrolls of contained goblin non-stop, so that we can actually get this achievement. 3 to 4 hours per day is pretty manageable, but this also does not include any holidays or weekends or something like that. So realistically, it's going to be like a full-time job for most people. So we need people that quit their job, have no life, no wife, no friends or anything, and just farm those goblins for us. Of course, you could make it a little bit easier on everyone by just inviting more people to the whole thing, but I think even recruiting 3,000 people that want to basically give up everything in order to farm those goblins might already be a little bit difficult. So I don't really want to try to go for even less than that. And we should really make sure that people are committed to the cause. So if that event interests you and you want to be part of this new adventure, then you can send a mail to wudijo@mineral.gg or just reply here in the comments. We can go through them later, and send your resume, send us all of your details. We want full commitment, so as I explained, no life, etc. Also no sick leave, no holidays. Of course, this is voluntary work, so we can't really pay for that. So it is what it is, but sacrifices have to be made. And that's also it for this entire strategy. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'm probably gonna have like a halfway through update or something, so expect that in like a year from now. Until then, I will probably go radio silent, not posting anything. We're gonna be farming goblins, guys, so get ready. And maybe in 2 years, if we get all this stuff done, maybe we're gonna have the big celebration at WudiCon. So I have high expectations for you guys. I'm sure we can get this done. Hope you enjoyed my video here, and I'll see you guys next time.